Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for another episode of Learning and Development Preparing Enterprises for Tomorrow. We have the good fortune of having with us Mr. Rajesh Chandran, Senior VP, Global Head for Talent Acquisition and L&D, Happiest Minds. Thank you, Mr. Rajesh, for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity, Sumedha and Coursera team.
Thank you. We also have with us Mr. Pushkar Kelkar, Regional Director for Enterprise Business, Coursera, India. Thank you, Pushkar. Great to meet you on this platform today.
Thank you, Sumedha, for the opportunity. And, Rajesh, it's great to, speak again and connect with you. Thank you.
Same here, Pushkar.
So, Mr. Rajesh, even before I officially begin on my scheme of questions, what really intrigues me, Mr. Rajesh, is that you are in an industry which, everyone is looking at because they are seeking guidance from companies such as yours, right? When you are, at the helm of technology such as cloud, AI, all of that. These are the buzzwords across, right? Starting from a manufacturing to a BFSI to any other domain, you name it. And then any which way these words or these technologies are changing so fast, right? And you are guiding other companies. It kind of baffles me to, think that you keep your employees ahead of the curve, ahead of the cut, such that then you are in a position to really help your customers. Over to you, Mr. Rajesh.
The asset of the organization and the IT services is the employees, the members of the organization. Their competence, their knowledge, that is the asset of the company. And therefore, right from the time a selection of individual who becomes part of the organization is all about how competent and what is the attitude of that person. Is it a person's ability to learn is the first thing that we would like to consider. If you look at this industry in the last 3 decades, there is no specific skill that has remained forever, right? There is a continuous change. We never spoke about cloud 10, 15 years back, but it was in some different form, but it became into a cloud form. So all these are a continuous dynamic movement. The only aspect remains is how an individual is able to catch up. How is he able to put his time and effort to keep continuous learning is the fundamental differentiator of the members in the organization. So that's the platform that we call as the learning platform. All other aspects that we are just enablers to us. And some of them are more competent, more interested, and depending on the effort they put in, they get better opportunities. But the critical thing is everybody in the system is all seeking what is that they can learn in the next phase of their life is the differentiator that we depend upon.
Well said, Mr. Rajesh. And you beautifully bring me to the next point that I had in mind, that you highlighted the ability of learning of an individual, right? What we also see panning out today is that one is the ability, of course, there's no denying about it. And the ask of the employees today is also being how relevant it is, how personalized it is, right? What will I achieve out of that? On the contrary, at the same point of time, in your situation, you are also being responsible as to what is the impact it will drive for the organization. Will the organization goals be mapped to the individual goals, the individual, aspirations, right? How do you tread this fine line?
Yeah, great question. So, in a typical IT services organization, if you look at, there is a pyramid. The pyramid is normally based on the experience range. But from an L&D point of view, if you construct a pyramid, the pyramid comes from the kind of competence that they bring in. Right? Bottom of the pyramid is the talent which we take from campus. They are the fresh, young minds who are the people who learn much more faster. They are coming into the organization to learn many things. That space is one aspect. Then you look at developers, testers, people who are in the 2 years to 5 years range, where they are they're not new to the industry, they are not new to the technology, but they are in a phase of going to the next level. So that is a second phase. Then you have people in the project management, program management, delivery management, the typical leads who are getting exposed to the client. They start talking about business language, and they also start mentoring a lot of team members below them in the part of the team. And they also start contributing to the industry in terms of blogs, in terms of notes that they gained over the period of time. So that is the third layer that we have. Then we have the next one is the architects, the people who are more focused on providing thought leadership from a technology point of view to the organization and also to the industry. Right? Then that is the fourth. And the last one is the leadership. So if you look at this 5 segmented pyramid, each pyramid have different ambitions, different requirements, and different needs at a given point of time. So the organization has to understand both the individual needs and what is required from the organization for that set of team members, right? So this is something which is captured in the appraisal cycles. When we have our discussions with the members of the organization, each one is specific about what they want to become. We capture that. And also the immediate team member, the supervisor of that member, also provides what is that that person feels the next step for that individual is. It could be at a program or a project level, or it could be at the next level in the practice. That means a person, a developer, how to become a senior developer. He also gives these inputs. These 2 inputs are critical from a learning and development team point of view. You need to construct, enable courses and also provide inputs to them, which motivates them both at the project level and at the same time at an individual competency level. Today I may be in Microsoft Stream, but tomorrow I want to learn a new technology which is upcoming. For instance, today we are talking about AI-based technology aspects. How do I get exposed to? What are the courses that I need to learn? It may not be immediately relevant to the immediate project that they belong to, but we capture that, stating that you have chosen this path, and these are the set of things that you are expected to do for you to achieve. And we leave it from a tracking point of view and enablement point of view. If I am passionate about what I need, I will definitely do that. The other aspect is the organization requirement aspect, where we provide the same enablement. At the same time, we also guide them to ensure that within the timelines, they are able to complete those. So this 2-way process of enabling both at the individual and at the organization requirement is the combination that what is it for me is also addressed. At the same time, what I am doing to the organization is also appreciated. So that's the matrix that we work with. And as I said, it is different at each layer. The architect expectation is different to a developer's expectation to a campus fresher. So these are the models on which we develop. The training hours are different. The method of training is different. And the expectation set was also different. So there is no single stroke of brush to these concepts.
Wonderful, Mr. Rajesh. And you put it so wonderfully because one, what I understand is that because you're making it need-based of the employee, it's not a push from the management. It's creating a pull factor of its own, right? And I think then it kind of drives the success of the learning and development program far better than if it was just a push that, okay, you are supposed to do this or you need to do this, right? Without understanding their needs. Pushkar, sorry, I've been kept you waiting for so long, but this is when I come to you. How do you see, a partner such as Coursera, treading these intricacies that Mr. Rajesh just put out, right? He spoke of a complete pyramid, a 5-level, a 5-node pyramid, where each of them are having different ambitions, different targets to achieve, different vision, right? How do you fulfill such, problem statements when you are heading Coursera?
Thank you so much, Sumedha. Again, a very great question. But firstly, I think, I would really appreciate what, Rajesh started his conversation with was the willingness to learn, right? And that's the basic or the fundamental at which, Happiest Minds, recruits, right? And we're so glad that, we are partnering with them, right away. I think also from a Coursera standpoint, we also believe that is very important across any learning framework or learning programs that we run with corporations. Because I think if you don't have the ability or the desire to learn and to progress, it essentially kind of drives the program objectives very differently, right? At Coursera, I'm happy to share that we have a course called Learning to Learn, and Rajesh, maybe this is something we could extend to your program as well to start with. It's one of the most popular courses on the Coursera platform across channels, right? Whether it's consumer or enterprise, it's from a faculty called Professor Barbara Oakley. So I think what we've seen is while all of emerging tech content and leadership content and a lot of other kind of pieces of content come onto the platform today, but I think learning to learn is one of the basic skills that any learner or any individual should have. To address your question, like Rajesh mentioned, there are different levels of kind of segments across a corporation. I think there are two things that we kind of consider and discuss with our partners when we are trying to onboard a program or try to partner with them. One of them is largely what is the business outcome that they want to achieve, right? In terms of whether it's product innovation, whether it's business kind of strategy, whether it's people strategy, or so on and so forth, right? So we look at what the customer or the partner objective is, and then we kind of look at what is the kind of people segments within the organization, and then sit down with the partner to kind of frame the solution together. And how do we do that? Is that our platform has a stackable learning format where say a leader, to which Rajesh, alluded to, may not have that much amount of time. So we do have, short clips which range from, 10 minutes to 15 minutes to a project or, even a lab kind of an environment where, someone could spend a little amount of time on the platform and learn and, go through their daily lives or daily work lives. To someone younger into the organization who wants to kind of, build deep skills for, say, building their own muscle, but also, like Rajesh mentioned, learning a new technology altogether, right? So for that, we have things called as specializations, which come from, again, dedicated, global universities and industry partners. So what we are able to do eventually is looking at the business outcome, looking at the segment of the population. We try to kind of build programs which are catering to the overall outcome. So one, to the earlier career professionals who come from college or to the, below the mid-level, we kind of look at career pathing as an, kind of a, program, right? The other is, for the leadership and the senior leadership, we look at strategic thinking, leadership thinking, how can we build programs on that? So we are able to kind of customize a solution which makes sense, for the business objective of the organization, and also, partner with them in the truest sense. So that's how, essentially, we would try to use our platform and the partnership that we have.
That's great, Pushkar. You also alluded to a very important point, that business outcomes. I think that's what, at the end of the day, we all are here to drive, right, at our respective organizations, right? Pushkar, Rajesh, sorry, I'd come to you on this, and taking a cue from what Pushkar just mentioned, right? the fact that, and that is if we agree that yes, business outcomes have to be met at the end of the day, right? That's what is driving all of us. But then stitching it through the pyramid that you alluded to, right? And ensuring that ultimately everything is moving towards that one, uniform or single minded, dedication, right? What we see today is that there is a need of a platform, and platform is not just technology platform, because that's where you are the experts of it any which way, right? When I say a platform, we're looking at comprehensiveness. We are looking at, being strategic across all the, levels of the pyramid, right? The learning in itself, it should be so seamless, it should be so invisible that it happens naturally, right? It becomes, and not just a tick mark, right? If I may use that word or phrase, that it's not any other initiative, right? It's constant. It becomes the DNA of the company, right? Any thoughts on that, Rajesh? That how do you drive it to become that very DNA, which kind of ensures that organizations today are not just thriving and sustaining, but are best equipped for the future that is yet to come, unknown to everyone? Over to you, Rajesh.
Yeah. So, very interesting situation we're given. See, traditionally, the learning and development in the organization was seen as a training unit. It used to be a cost center. That's how it is called. But in the last, I would say, 10 years, it has now become an important talent supply space. Talent supply in the sense you are providing competent, the outcome of the division or the function is to provide competent people to take up new challenges the organization is coming up, or the respective clients are coming up. So that means you are becoming aligned to expectations of outcome. And any organization which is succeeding and consistent in the market is completely growth oriented. The growth is the platform for driving many things. Positive growth. So positive growth for an organization means revenue, profitability, client satisfaction rating, stakeholder management. All these are positive growths. And in this, every team member have a wave to go with. And the wave is both at a professional and at a personal levels. Right? Personal levels is all about well-being, financial well-being, being secured in what they do, appreciated for what they contribute. Right? That is the expectation of a personal side. But on the company side, outcome based. That anything which is provided as an opportunity, how well you utilize that opportunity by learning the right things, contributing, and also showing a progress that is in line with the organization growth. Right? These two are, everything is associated with that one aspect, which is growth. If I'm able to show growth, I also grow. This is common not only to team member, but to the organization and to anything which is associated in that space. Even from a client point of view, the client is very happy to continue to give more business if they are providing them the growth that they wanted, right? So there are multiple things which is going on, but everything connected to one single platform, which is growth. If you keep that as the base, then it becomes very seamlessly connected with what you provide as an enablement to members of the organization. What you have a discussion at various levels. Everything is associated with one single common goal. The association is, you can see, if I contribute for one particular day or to a week or a month or a year, it should be able to connect back to what you have contributed as a growth segment. Right? So that is what we are focusing on, saying that An organization which is in the growth segment has to be transparent in terms of sharing where they are heading to, and how they are heading to, so that every member knows their contribution is how they are connected. So there is no hide and seek in this space. So if we keep this as the fundamental platform that you called up, then I don't see there is any disconnects in the operational elements. As I told in the previous question of yours, every individual at different layers know what they are expecting and what they are going to get and how they are going to utilize that opportunity. And if they do well, they are able to move up. I will bring in another concept in this space, which is the revenue model of the client. Everyone who is in this business knows that if we have to have every contract comes with a defined timeline. If the contract has to get extended, there is an expectation from the client saying that what have you contributed during this period? If you have to going to contribute the same thing at a higher cost, then why would I work with you? Right? So that's the business language that is happening. So that means what? Everyone needs more services for the same kind of cost that they bring in. And it has to keep continuously improving upon. The same is applicable to an individual in the organization, a member in the organization. That if I continue to do the same job and the same competency level, my growth is not going to be very spectacular, right? So how do I learn that and start giving much more than what I did in the previous year for me to justify my take-up in terms of both at a personal and at the financial well-being of myself? So it's all connected, interconnected. And being transparent about it, being clear about it, makes things much more easier. And meritorious people have a faster track. People who have a capability to absorb and deliver better have a faster track. At the same time, no one is born saying that you are an expert on the time of birth. We have all got our competency based on the exposures, the senior members in the organization giving us the opportunities, and also how we utilized our opportunities is what we are in today's context. So that is going to be there coming up for generations to come. The aspect is, good part is, all the hard things that has happened and tested is today is in a knowledge transfer basis. So that you don't need to redo the same activity what has been done few years back for a given situation. So the knowledge repository and knowledge transfer, which is provided to each member in the organization, becomes their Bible for them to use and move forward faster. So it's a I would say a great future that is there, and digital is making things faster. Expectation and outcomes is also faster. And if you look at current generation, it is all instant rewarding. I do something, I need to know what I've got out of it, right? And it is matching with their expectations. Therefore, having a single-minded focus on growth, having a single-minded focus on transparent process, and rewarding the meritorious, I think these are the fundamental pillars on which the learning can succeed in any organization. That's my view.
No, absolutely. I couldn't have agreed more with you, Mr. Rajesh. And I think if I have to kind of rephrase it, what you really alluded to was that you are building that culture in the organization where you are acknowledging that every individual is responsible for the collective growth and success of the organization, right? And yes, that is huge. Not every organization is able to actually walk the talk. People find it very difficult. And the other thing that you kind of brought me to was the reference to the knowledge that was built, right? The knowledge transfer that you spoke of. And this is exactly what I am going to check on with you, Pushkar. When I said that you at Coursera are already enabling, I think, more than 2,700 customers worldwide, right? Your domain is huge. You must have seen the merits of this knowledge capital being used and being delivered to drive huge success. Could you allude to any such success that you partnered with some organization and it kind of came back with a huge margin and great benefits? Any such case study that you have to share with us?
Absolutely. And before I do that, again, great comments from, Rajesh. I think, I take three things out of it. One is, in any learning and development program, Sumedha, that we run with any of our partners, I think three things are very, very important. One, growth is very, very crucial and important to the organization, and not just for them, but also for their customers, right? Also for the ecosystem that they live in. Growth for all, right? Not just for org, the people inside the organization, the customers outside the organization. And I think that is where, as a learning development program, the kind of efforts that we put in when considered as an investment, drives a whole lot of different outcomes, because then we all agree that all the people in our organization are actually the currency of the organization, right? When we kind of go out and speak to our customers, or our stakeholders, they will see us as the organ and nothing else, right? And hence, I think investing in your people, in specific learning and development programs to drive growth for you as an individual, organization, and the customer becomes very crucial. A couple of examples that I can kind of quickly cite off is that there is an IT services company here in India which essentially has a very large ambitious goal of becoming $1 billion business by FY25. And what they believe is crucial to that becoming a success is building digital capabilities and building strong OEM partnerships. Is very, very key to their success. So what they are essentially doing with us as a partner is that we have a lot of content from industry, say Microsoft, AWS, and Google, and then they're also kind of leveraging a lot of emerging tech content on cloud, AI, ML, blockchain, cybersecurity, etc., to kind of build this knowledge capability, right? So not just for what is required today, but what is required for 2 years, 3 years down the line. How am I preparing my people for that, right? This is where the organization has kind of invested for about 12,500 learners, including a new joiners program for their employees who join from campus, right? So essentially building them very quickly and seamlessly into the org kind of culture as well as org framework in terms of business. A very quick example, not in India, but there's a large bank in Asia which is trying to differentiate itself, and stay competitive and retain market share, especially with the advent of so many of these fintech players and digital banks. What they have essentially done is they have built a data chapter where they are using business analytics and decision science to solve a lot of business problems, and essentially also become an organization which kind of drives insights through data. Right, so the data chapter essentially is ensuring that the talent has the best resources available from top industry and university partner content from Coursera, so that their employees in the data chapter remain in forefront of the data analytics. So essentially, again, two very different use cases, but leveraging the content that we have today and the capabilities of our platform and the people that we have on our team, in a very strategic manner to drive individual company outcomes, and not like a plain vanilla L&D program, right? So I think these would be my kind of insights.
No, thanks for sharing this, Pushkar, because this is what tells us that how the whole L&D space has really changed, right? Which I think Rajesh started off, when we started this conversation, that this change, thankfully so, happened in the last 10 years, and that is what is driving the organizations, making them resilient to have sustained what we went through in the last couple of years and be prepared for the future as well. Thank you, gentlemen, on this platform and sharing your thoughts and insights. I'm sure it will be a huge takeaway for all our audience. And thank you, Mr. Rajesh, once again, and thank you, Pushkar, for your time today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.